Let's jump right into this explainer. We're looking at how fixing one incredibly common, almost mindless late-night habit can literally build massive long-term wealth. You know, we usually think building a solid financial safety net takes some huge windfall or this overly complex investment strategy, right? Well, the source material we're digging into today reveals something totally different. It all starts with a scenario we've absolutely all been through, and a sneaky little leak that's quietly draining your potential.
So, picture this. It's exactly 10:47 p.m. You're lying in bed, your face lit up by that harsh blue light of your smartphone, and you open your banking app just to, check one quick thing before you sleep. But 5 minutes later, you're staring at a "thank you for your payment" notification, and it's for a streaming service you haven't even opened since last Christmas. For a split second, you tell yourself, it's fine. But then, the scrolling starts.
First, you spot a small charge. Just 15 bucks. I mean, it really doesn't seem like much in isolation, does it? Just a tiny blip on the radar. No big deal.
But then, right below that, you see a $30 premium fee for some fancy photo editor app. You know the one. You downloaded it, used it exactly once to touch up a single photo, and then completely forgot it even existed. And then, there's another small drip. 10 bucks for a digital tier of a gym membership or some fitness app you literally haven't opened in months. The drips just keep coming as your thumb swipes down the screen.
By the time you're done scrolling, you do the mental math and realize, wow, $100 is just gone, totally evaporated from your checking account. Now, if this sounds incredibly familiar, let me assure you, you're definitely not alone. When this happens, most of us immediately think we have this terrible spending problem, right? We feel guilty, frustrated about our lack of self-control. But as the source material reveals, it's actually fascinating. You aren't fundamentally broken when it comes to managing your money.
This brings us to part 1, the frictionless trap.
The honest truth here is that you're operating inside a system completely designed to work against you. The entire modern economy is engineered to extract your money as frictionlessly as humanly possible. Think about it for a second. Signing up for something takes what, maybe 4 seconds? You double-click the side of your phone, Face ID does its thing, and boom, you're locked in. But canceling? Oh, canceling is purposely exhausting. You usually have to log into a totally different website on a desktop, dig through 3 hidden menus, and sometimes even call a retention specialist who basically begs you to stay. It's incredibly easy to subscribe, but an absolute massive headache to leave.
And this perfectly illustrates why companies lean so hard on very specific psychological triggers. They rely heavily on a concept called loss aversion. Basically, your brain genuinely hates losing access to something way more than it enjoys gaining something new. Because of that, you're forced into this weird cycle where you're actually afraid to hit cancel. You just keep paying that monthly fee, telling yourself, well, just in case I need that obscure movie or that photo editor later.
Let's move on to part 2, the compound effect. So, you might be wondering, why does $100 a month even matter in the grand scheme of things? Well, finding that missing money from those hidden leaks means you're putting a very substantial $1,200 a year right back into your pocket. I mean, that is real, tangible cash that was otherwise just vanishing into thin air.
If you take that $1,200 a year and just put it into a basic index fund earning roughly 8% annually, time and compounding take over. After 10 years, you really start to see the growth. But fast forward to year 20, that initial, almost invisible little leak has grown into an astounding $60,000. No way, right? But it's true. That 60 grand is literally the difference between just scraping by and actually having a real, concrete financial safety net.
The source text captures this perfectly. Building a real financial safety net isn't about getting lucky with the perfect stock pick, and it isn't even about avoiding bad investments. It's really just about reclaiming your resources so you actually have the space to invest in the first place. You simply can't grow your money if you don't plug those midnight leaks first.
Which leads us to part 3, the subscription audit system.
Okay, so how do we actually stop this cycle? Well, first, you've got to look at the hard numbers in your app. No guessing allowed here. Then, you ruthlessly separate them. Into one bucket, you put your needs, things like rent or basic insurance. Into the other, your wants, the stuff that makes life fun but isn't strictly essential. And here is the absolute golden rule. If it's a want that you haven't used recently, it goes straight onto the kill list. No mercy.
The whole system really just comes down to 3 super simple steps. Step 1, the digital sweep, where you finally face those hard numbers. Step 2, applying that need versus want filter we just talked about. And step 3, which is honestly the most important part, adding friction back in. This completely flips the script on that corporate trap we discussed earlier.
Here's exactly how you add that friction back. You go into your settings and actively turn off auto renewals. Then, manually remove your saved credit cards from your digital wallets and accounts. I know it sounds annoying, but that is exactly the point. By intentionally making it harder to pay, you force your brain to switch from that easy, automatic, emotional spending to careful, logical thinking every single time a bill is due. You're building a roadblock that makes you stop and ask, wait, do I actually want to pull my physical card out of my wallet and pay for this today?
And finally, part 4, becoming an owner.
You see, plugging the leaks is really only the first half of the equation. What you do with that recovered money is what actually shifts your identity. The source text has this great analogy. It describes building wealth like rolling a snowball down a long hill. At first, it looks a bit boring, kind of small, but eventually the growth starts feeding entirely on itself. When you take that $100 and move it from a mindless want bucket into a dedicated savings bucket, a profound shift happens. You stop acting like a consumer who's just being bled dry by a frictionless economy, and you start operating like an owner.
This source perfectly encapsulates the whole lesson here. True financial freedom doesn't mean waking up every single day with perfect, extreme discipline. Come on, we're humans, not robots. Mastering money relies entirely on creating systems, like this subscription audit system, that do the heavy lifting for you. You want to design your environment so that making a right financial decision is actually easier than making the wrong one.
So what about you? What is the absolutely most random, hidden subscription you realized you were still paying for? Let us know in the comments. I'd love to read them. But more importantly, I want you to ask yourself this tonight. Are you going to keep letting a frictionless economy quietly drain your potential, or are you ready to step up and become an owner? Go do your digital sweep and start building that $60,000 safety net today. You've got this.